Pushing Back the Shadows presents a very mental Christmas. It's all the tips, all the tricks, and all the secrets that you need to get yourself through this Christmas while managing your mental health. Hello and welcome to day 2 of A Very Mental Christmas. My name's Alex and I'm sat here with Cheryl, and today we're going to be looking at Christmas and work. Now, it was something I always used to find back when I was working on the phones at the bank, the same thing that you do. Mm-hmm. And it was, in the run-up to Christmas, it was all the parties, the collections going round, the decorations, which team had the best decorated desks, and it was just a complete run-up all the way up. And I know the place I worked in before that, it was you had Christmas music playing from the start of November. Mm-hmm. The same 10 songs on a loop.
Yeah.
And by the end of the shift, it was, I never want to hear this song again.
Yeah.
And it can be quite stressful. I mean, like we said with yesterday in the Christmas shopping, you see it everywhere, and it's bombarding, and you get a bit overwhelmed and overloaded. Wherever you look, there's a reminder that it's Christmas. But even with, because it depends on what you do, but you get the Christmas rushes there.
Yeah. How
busy did the phones used to get, because people were suddenly going, I need to do this with my finances, that with my finances, that with my finances. You know, pulling money from savings accounts and making transfers, paying off credit cards, and so on. Or even afterwards. Yeah. It was after the rush. It was, catching up on all the, why is my account in the overdraft and so on. Yeah. And it would. I mean, we always said that because you do the savings lines, I always used to do
general banking.
Banking, and general banking's busy enough as it is.
Yeah.
Whereas the savings, that was always kind of quieter. Mm. But in the run-up to Christmas, it would just go absolutely bananas.
Yeah, everything was as busy as each other. Yeah. And that's hard. I mean, I've also worked in a retail environment as well at Christmas, as have you. And that is hugely demanding because, you can be on your feet all day and it's customer after customer after customer after customer. And again, you've got this pressure of people they've got time scales, etc., and they're trying to get from shop to shop to shop to shop, and they're putting pressure on you to do whatever. I mean, the shop that I worked in was a family-owned business. It was my parents', and it was a jewellery business, which sounds lovely, and it is, or was, before they retired. But one of the things that they would do was offer free gift wrapping. Well, putting that into the mix at Christmas ended up actually becoming quite problematic, because you are taking time wrapping up the presents, making it look as perfect as you can, because this is somebody's gift, but you've then got a queue of people behind them, and all you keep thinking is, I've got to do the next person, and the next person's wrapping, and this and it becomes very, very intense. And after I think it was the first year that we ever did that, it was, do you know what, that isn't working in that way. Each individual assistant saying, would you like it gift wrapped, and wrapping it there and then. What we started doing was we had one person allocated to wrapping for, say, the morning. That's what they did. And we would say to the customer, if you want to wait, you can, it will be done, or come back later. Bring your receipt, we'll mark on, a number for you. We know which number that is. We'll give you the present. Yeah. You come back for it later. And that was the best thing. So if you are in that kind of environment and there is that sort of stress, one of the things we've actually said is talk to your manager about managing the options. Yeah. So
that can be really important, because I remember when my mental health problems first kicked off. I kept it hidden for ages, being at that time temporary employee, and them having the ability to let me go at any point, that kind of would keep you quiet. But when I did talk to her, it was okay, if you need this, if you need that, if you need the other, we'll sort it. So last Christmas was Well, particularly traumatising for a lot of us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because the company that we worked for suddenly decided that over the 4 or 5 weeks that would cover December and Christmas, they were going to put all the temporary staff on some kind of temporary leave.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, okay, you get to the last day in November and you guys are all,
You've not got a job for a month, yeah.
Yeah. And, okay, they said for a month, but there was still that, well, are they going to bother bringing us back? Are they not? We don't know. And I was already struggling at this point, wasn't I?
You were.
Because it was kind of August time that it all fully kicked off.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of sat there going, but I've got Christmas coming, and I've got this, and I've got rent, and I've got that, and I've got this, and bills, and how am I going to cope without a job?
Yeah.
I can't, it's Christmas, I can't go and find another job for the month. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I remember because they'd just taken on a bunch of new recruits,
yeah,
for want of a better word, and they were in the process of being trained at the same time, who were also kind of sat in the same boat of, not having a job for a month. But when I spoke to my manager, having no idea what she could do or anything, the first thing she did was say, well, do you know what, I'm going to book you off the phones, you go sit in with one of the recruits, help them through it. Because that's what we did. We used to train some of the new recruits as well.
Yeah.
And they were doing something that I was, well, I'd say proficient in, you'd say very proficient. Because you've never been one to spare on the praise.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first things that she did. She said, well, okay, do you know what, you take the time off the phone. We need every hand on deck, because what I was on at that point was busy, but no, it would do you better to go and sit with one of them for the day.
Yeah.
And then I went back to her kind of later on in the day and I said, do you know what, this is helping. Yeah, I'm still listening to the calls, but I'm not taking the calls.
Yeah.
But
you were still working, and that's the thing, you were actually able to get through the days.
Yeah.
You weren't having to go off sick over Christmas when people are already short-handed. You were enabling extra people to be on the phones, and that actually was
probably
just
more
as
beneficial.
Probably much more beneficial.
But then when I went back to her and I'd said, this is working, I've only got 2 or 3 days left before we're meant to leave, could I do this for those next couple of days? First thing she did was turn around and say, yeah, I've already done that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go on the phones at all for the last week that I was there.
Yeah.
I was on training.
That's the thing. We're saying on all of this, if you are struggling and you are at work over Christmas, talk to your manager.
Yeah.
Arrange a bit of quiet time and explain, and be as honest as you can and as open as you can, because I know it's difficult, but explain what's going on with you. And, in the modern business environment, they have to be more open and understanding and try and accommodate what's going to help you through.
Yeah.
So many businesses have got occupational health that can build in things like breaks or different setups of working environments, call flow, if you work in a call centre type environment. If you're in a busy shop, it could be, well, okay, you spend the afternoon doing stock rotation in the back to help bring things through, so that you're not face to face.
Yeah, they've got plenty of options, don't they?
I know this sounds awful, but my favourite thing when I did used to work for my mum and dad was, if it was one of those really, really manic days and I was starting to get a little bit stressed, my dad would just turn around and go, you're on present wrapping this afternoon then. And I would sit down by the safe with reams and reams of wrapping paper and ribbons, but I quite like wrapping. I'm a bit weird, and would spend ages making these presents look really, really great, but I was in this little oasis of calm where I could just get on. I was still productive, and I was actually making life easier for my colleagues in the shop, because there would always be about 4 or 5 of us in this quite small shop at Christmas, and you would not sit down all day. So to get that little bit of, okay, well, we've got somebody that does gift wrapping, and that's me for a couple of hours, and we take it in turns to do that.
Yeah.
But that was incredibly beneficial. I know not everybody's going to have that lovely working environment of working for your parents.
No.
But
Still
realistically,
something that they can look at.
yeah, wherever you work, your employer has an obligation to you to help support you. And
do.
yeah,
There's a lot of different things that they can do. I mean, you've already mentioned occupational health. You've also got there are like assistance programs for employees out there as well. But even some of the little things. I mean, you mentioned scheduling in breaks. Different shifts could be a possibility.
yeah,
I mean, when I was working in that call centre for the bank, it was anything between kind of about 9, half 9, all the way through to about 6 was just an absolute nightmare, because it was really, the minute you log onto the phone, you've got a call.
Yeah.
And it was call after call after call. Every time one dropped, another one came in. And that could be, I mean, if you're already feeling anxious and stressed, that could be something very, very difficult to do.
yeah,
It depends on the day, because some days I found it very good to have a distraction, but other days I really didn't. So working on, say, an 8-4 shift, that did me some good, because 8 all the way through to kind of 9:30, I was getting a call every 20 minutes,
yeah,
and that worked.
yeah,
Or getting through, like say, doing a 12 till 8 shift. Yeah, it's late, but towards like between 6 and 8, it then dies down again. You only get kind of a call every 10-15 minutes.
yeah,
And in some respects, it's not so helpful, because it does mean you've got more time to process and overthink if that's more your problem. But it does give you that break.
yeah.
And then tying it into what we were saying yesterday about Christmas shopping and going at different times. I used to love coming out at 8 o'clock and going and doing my shopping then, because it was so quiet. It was great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you work in a retail environment as well, if where you're working for is doing extended opening hours, they're going to need cover throughout the day.
Yeah.
And one thing that I commented, was that you'll get quite a lot of people going to Christmas parties, multiple Christmas parties, and they suddenly really won't want to do the early shifts, which will be probably quieter for you. And it sounds very selfish, but you're taking an opportunity for yourself, but you're actually also going to help somebody else out in the long run as well.
Yeah.
And doing little shift swaps like that is actually really great. I mean, my thing was I always used to work, if I worked on Christmas Eve, I worked early to kind of get it out of the way.
I thought they always did that.
Well, no, I'm talking generally wherever
Yeah.
I've worked. I've always tried to work the earlier shift. So whether it was in retail or in banking, I've worked the earlier shift on Christmas Eve, because then that gives me the opportunity to, I finished early, I get home and I can relax and just wind down.
Yeah.
But it also meant, I mean, for example, when I was working at a different bank in a branch, one of my friends was, quite rightly, she was going out with quite a group of friends the night before Christmas Eve, and she knew full well there was no way she was going to be in the branch for 8:30 on Christmas Eve, which was when we had to be in for. And it was like, well, okay, we'll swap. I'll do the early, you do the late. And oh, okay. And she thought I was doing her a massive favour. Actually, I was doing myself one as well.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes.
You're listening to A Very Mental Christmas, where we provide you with the best tips for getting you through this Christmas while managing your mental health. Don't forget, if you haven't already, you want to listen out for the key word in this episode and send that through to us so that you can have a chance of winning either a copy of Pills and Blades, Alex's 5-star autobiography, or a personalised Pushing Back the Shadows mug, or other great prizes, so don't miss out. So you have the busy environment, where we work call after call after call after call, but then you've also got the parties, the festivities, the Secret Santas, and that in itself can be
very stressful.
Yeah. I mean, you're trying to meet your quota and everybody's going, oh, can you sign this card for this person? And oh, can you do this? And oh, we're going to give that person their present at this time. And oh, we need to have a meeting about the Christmas party.
Yeah.
And you're sat there going, yeah, but I've got stats to, well, particularly in where we were, we've got stats to achieve, we've got this, that and the other, we've got managers breathing down our necks, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And if we start with Secret Santa, we've got, I hate doing Secret Santa.
Yeah.
If I don't know them, I have no idea what to get them, no idea what they're like, no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And it's stressful.
It is hugely stressful, and it can actually, I know this sounds, it can end up actually making quite horrible tensions within a working environment. There was a year that there was a Secret Santa done quite early on in my career at where I work, and I was given the name of a lady within the team who was like, well, I know her a little bit, but I didn't know her massively well. And we went for our Secret Santa meal. I'd bought her what I thought was actually quite a nice gift. It was, different bath bombs. It was quite a pretty little relaxation set. We'd got a limit. We knew how much we'd got to spend. And we'd actually stuck to the Secret Santa, you don't put your name on. It was just random. And this woman opened this gift and just hurled it across the table, quite indignant, because apparently she didn't have a bath. She had shower room. She didn't like baths. And it's like, well, unless I knew her particularly well, how would I have possibly known that?
Yeah.
And I remember just sitting there going, I thought I'd bought something nice. And this is the thing, Secret Santa can be lovely.
It can.
It can be, but it can also be a huge pressure and a huge stress, and can lead to these sort of feelings of, because she was obviously upset. She'd got something that she really didn't want. Admittedly, I feel she handled it very badly. Yeah. A grown woman should have just been able to go, oh, thank you very much, and, repurpose the gift. Which I've done that myself before now, when I've had something rather random off my son. But yeah.
Yeah. Some of them can be quite nice. I mean, I've got a salt candle sitting on my desk here. Allegedly I still don't know who that was from.
You do. Yeah.
At least as far as she's concerned. Wasn't my manager, of course.
No.
But then you kind of got the other side of you had no idea what to get her. Yeah. And in the end got her the wrong thing. Yeah. The person I picked, and bearing in mind I was recruited in the late September, early October. So I'd been in training for the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, so it wasn't until the start of December that I actually joined my team. Yeah. So I had 4 weeks, not even that, probably 3. Yeah. To sort a Secret Santa out for somebody that I did not know. Oh yeah, this person, you could hear him from the other end of the call centre, but I didn't know what to get him. And so I had been paired with a particular person for most of the training period, the settling in. And I turned to her and I said, look, I've picked him. I don't know him. I haven't got a clue what to get him. What should I get him? And she turns around and she says, some smelly stuff, some socks. And it's like, but why? Why? That's not the kind of thing I'd think of getting. I go for the quirky things. Yeah. Bit like the salt candle. Yeah. And I really thought she was having me on. Yeah. Really thought. Turns out that was really what he wanted. Yeah. But it was like, yeah. But then you've got the other side of it, which is when you do know them, sometimes that can make it worse. Because what if you buy them something that they don't like, and you know them, and it's like, oh, well, you're supposed to know what I like. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if there's absolutely no chance of getting out of it, and you happen to pick that person that you just don't know, you've got a couple of options. One is you speak to whoever is organising the Secret Santa and say, look, I do not know this person at all. Can I have some help? Or ask if you can swap to somebody that you do know a little bit better. That's the options. The other thing, and this is perhaps a little controversial because it kind of goes against the whole Secret Santa idea, but it is something I have done, was I went to the person that I picked because I did not know them at all. They were brand new to the team. Nobody knew them. So I could have asked, everybody.
I'd got no idea. And I just went to them and said, look, I know it's supposed to be Secret Santa, but I'd rather actually buy you something that you want.
Yeah.
Just give me a couple of ideas. I won't tell you which one I'm going to get you, but if you give me a few ideas of the type of thing that you like, then I can at least get you something that you know. And that actually took a huge amount of pressure off. And after that, I mean, I've been an organizer of Secret Santas, and I try and make it as not confrontational as possible. I say, look, if you need to swap, let's swap.
Yeah.
I'd rather people do that. Some people can be a bit military about it, and it depends who's doing it.
Well, I suppose you can always get somebody else to go and ask, say, I know who's got you, and they're a little stuck.
Yeah.
And that still keeps the secrecy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I suppose you've got, just looking at the next point, is all the parties.
Yeah.
Because with everything with Christmas, especially in the workplace, you kind of feel obligated. You feel that pressure to do these things.
Yeah.
You know, your team's having a party, so you've got to pay in to do this, that and the other, and you've got to go to these places, and you've got to be there, be sociable, do this, do that, do the other. And I remember feeling so bad on that Christmas that I was there, because I didn't go to the Christmas party. And they're saying, oh, but you'll enjoy it, you'll be enjoying it. And I'm sat there going, yeah, but it's going to cost me £15 to £20.
Which you hadn't got.
No, I'd only just started, and it's like, I don't have this kind of money.
Yeah.
And this is me, I wouldn't want anybody to have paid for me or anything like that.
Yeah.
And similarly with last Christmas as well.
They still wanted you to go with everything that was going on as well. And
they wanted me to go, and I'm sat there going, well, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can go along, pretend to be part of the team when realistically I haven't technically got a job.
Yeah.
And at the same time it was kind of, I went back to my parents for a month.
Yeah.
Because it was a case of, well, look, I've got bills to pay, I've got rent to pay. The rent I don't have a choice on, but the bills, if I'm not here, I can't be using them.
Yeah.
So that was one way of coping, but particularly with parties. And there's a song that I've listened to on YouTube, and it's when they say about, rush down to the boozer for a vodka and a fag, and it can be a bit like that, can't it?
Yeah.
It can be, go down to the bar, get stinking drunk, that is a good night out. And that's not me.
No. And I think that's the thing, in terms of all of this, as regards Secret Santas and parties, etc., the important thing is, if it's not for you, speak up, tell them.
Yeah.
And
open up the discussion,
because you might actually find that there's going to be other people within your team who go, do you know what, I don't want to do that. One of the things that, because it was our team last year and everybody was going to this big fancy Christmas party,
Grand Station, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you were getting pushed to go, even with everything that was going on. I was getting pushed to go. I wasn't going to go, if you remember, and I did get pushed into it and hated it, if you recall.
Yeah, I do recall.
Yeah, but
drunk text message.
Yeah. Well, because I went for a very bad way of coping with it. Was just, in the end, it was because I'd sat there through the dinner and felt very isolated and out of it, because everybody around me was all drunk and huggy, and it just wasn't
all brawling,
and it just wasn't me. And in the end, it was sort of, I just kind of went to the bar and was like, I'll have as much wine as you can get in this glass, please. And got absolutely annihilated, which, looking back, was so bad and so not great for me.
No.
I don't like doing that when I'm out and about, and it wasn't nice. And it was just one of those nights where I look back and I go, I hated every minute of that. I'd spent money on it that I didn't want to spend. It was just, the whole thing was horrible. Whereas other things that I do around Christmas are actually really nice.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if you can tailor things to what's going to be good for you and the people that you care about or that you want to be around at Christmas, well, then do that. Yeah. You don't have to go to the Christmas office party.
No,
people may call you humbug or whatever else. I don't care.
Yeah.
My attitude is, well, realistically, what you want to do is not for me.
No, and that's okay, because everybody's different, and you don't... There has to be that kind of, that give and take in there too. It has to be more of a discussion. It can't just be a couple of people saying, well, this is what we are going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've taken a vote on it and that's one as the option, then okay. But I think our biggest suggestion for managing with all this workplace stress, the busy environment and the parties and the Secret Santa and everything, is don't be afraid to speak up if you need to. If it's not for you, if it's going to have a detrimental effect on you, like mine did, where they were getting rid of us for a month, and I'm sitting there going, I can't possibly deal with customers after being given news like that, then say something.
Yeah.
Now, as you will know from the video that we did this morning, and of course the stuff we've been doing yesterday, we're having our competition running through this week of A Very Mental Christmas, and your keyword for the day is going to be speak up, because it is important. You do need to speak up for your mental health, and it's not just in Christmas time, it's all the time, because if you don't speak up, you could be making things worse for yourself. It's scary, and believe me, when I had to have that chat with my manager about my mental health, it was extremely scary. I thought I was going to get fired on the spot.
Yeah.
But it is important to do, so not just at Christmas time, but all the time. And those of you who are kind of regular followers of Pushing Back the Shadows, those of you who've seen us on Twitter, followed us on Twitter, you'll have heard me say about helping us fight mental health stigma. And that's very much another case where you have to speak up. So, that's all from us for today. Join us tomorrow for the next step in our Very Mental Christmas. I'm sure we're both looking very much looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly are. But we're going to be looking all about finances, because that's another thing that is very stressful, particularly if, maybe you've had to go off sick, or maybe, like me last year, you've been given almost that involuntary redundancy type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Finances can be very stressful. So join us tomorrow. We'll be back for more top tips on how to survive this very, very mental Christmas. Take care. You've been listening to A Very Mental Christmas, presented by Pushing Back the Shadows. Don't forget to enter our competition. You can email us the correct keywords that are in the podcasts. And don't forget to stay tuned for more upcoming podcasts and also for our live videos. Just a reminder, those are 8 p.m. tonight on Facebook and 9 p.m. tonight on Twitter's Periscope. Hope to see you then.